We are live.
What's
Welcome.
up, everyone? What's going on? Welcome to another wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day of Pink Flags.
Yes, sir. Today, we're going to talk about ending it. And what, first of all, any reason is an acceptable reason to end a relationship with anybody.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I don't care if you don't want to talk to somebody, if you don't like them, if you don't want to be their friend, you don't want to have sex with them, you don't want to live in the same apartment, town, whatever, pull the plug. It's not for you. Don't belabor the point.
I agree with that 100%. Like, you shouldn't put yourself or that person through a long, dragged on situation where, like, both of you don't really want to be there anymore. And instead of just breaking it off, you're letting things linger and holding on to what's not even there anymore. So, like you said, to me, it's best sometimes just to be like, yo, we need to just go our separate ways. Um, you part ways and do what you have to do. And sometimes that's what it's about. And I also feel sometimes you just gotta say fuck it. Like, this isn't gonna work. We tried and we're not clicking and we're on two separate pages. So instead of just sitting around wasting one another's time, because that's something in life you cannot get back. So instead of wasting time, get out there and just go and be like, yo, I can't do it anymore. Or I can't do it at all, and just leave that situation. It's not worth the headaches and the heartaches. So I agree with you 100%.
Sorry for my weird little technical difficulty. Every once in a while, even a Mac has a moment.
Oh, trust me, I know about that. Oh, yes, mine goes through it also.
So, no, but I agree. And I find myself to be like a bad second chance giver. Like I always want to hear everybody's sob story, and I'm always giving people that really don't deserve it a second chance or a third chance.
Did you say a third chance?
I did.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
deep.
I did.
That's deep. I haven't honestly in 55 years. I haven't ever given anybody a second chance. I'm serious. I have never broken up and gotten back with anyone. And I learned that pretty young in dating. Like, I learned that pretty young in dating. Like, I went through a certain circumstance where I was like, if this person truly cared, they wouldn't have done what they did. I'm not, no, I'm not going through it again. But then that whole situation fucked me up for other relationships. So that's why I'm such an advocate of telling people clear your head, get over the last situation before you go into a new situation. Because I really think if I would have did that, my marriage would have worked better. But I brought a lot of what I felt into the new one, and my mistrust and insecurities from the last one affect the next one. So I tell people all the time, like, make sure you take care of yourself before you go into something new. But you definitely, definitely have to step away from those toxic relationships and those relationships that you know just don't work. It's no longer there. It is what it is. Like don't set yourself up. That's it.
My biggest thing that when I was married, I think that for the 15 years I was married, I tried to end it once a year at least.
Wow.
I was like 3 weeks in, I knew that at some point my marriage was going to end up in divorce. Like, I just knew. But my thing is, like, I want to believe in people, I want to have faith in people.
Right.
And
But
that's kind of stupid.
no, I don't think so. I think sometimes we just have a kind heart. We're
Mhm.
just good people. And like you said, you want to believe in people and you want to believe there's good people out there. And there is good people out there, but there's a lot of assholes out there also. So we could sit there and say, yeah, like I have a friend that I always tell, she's always like, well, I do this and I would do this and I would do it this way, and I always go, just because you would do things a certain way, that don't mean other people will do what you do. Just because you would give somebody your last dollar, don't mean that same person would give you their last dollar. You can't always think that just because you have a certain character and certain morals, everybody rolls the way you roll. It's not like that. You could be the kindest, sweetest, most gentle person, and people still try to steamroll you. You could be the biggest asshole in the world, and people treat you with all the love in the world. It's that person or those people. And I always say that you can't hold someone. Well, no, hold up. Let me put it a different way. You could hold people to whatever standard you want, but once they show you this is not them, you got to understand. And now you have to make that decision. Can I stay here or is it time for me to leave? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't get. Like I tell people all the time, love and relationships are not easy. And if you're not really willing to put in the work and respect one another and try to understand one another, it's never going to work. And once you see it's not going to work, it's sad to say you got to let it go.
Yeah, you do. You got to be like, oh, well, here we go. Because if you're not, then you're just carrying it around. It's like you have like a big knapsack full of backpack full of bricks, and you're just walking around with the bricks. And like,
Right.
I know myself, I don't think I've ever had a significant breakup without seeing a therapist because I believe the sob story. So honestly, what I do, and I highly recommend it for people that have like a very forgiving nature and want to always believe the best in people. When it's time for a breakup, go see a counselor of some sort and like process your feelings and have somebody professional because once you ask your friends, or it's like this with girls, my friends, my sisters, one day they're like, oh no, he's got to go, you need to be done with him. And the next day it's like, oh, he's not so bad, I mean, he was very nice when we went to so and so place. And it's like,
Hmm.
no, you need a professional. You need somebody that's only playing for your team. It's cool if you have to pay for them, because especially like I can't ask my family to do that, because then if I do try and work things out, I poison the well.
Right, right. I always tell people that also. Like,
Don't
you
poison.
don't run tell your family, you don't run tell your friends. But even with saying you don't run and tell your friends, sometimes you need that one person that you can converse with, that you can confide in, but you also know that's a person that's not judgmental towards. They're actually just going to sit and listen and give you their opinion and try to really help you. But I always told people, don't run back and forth to your family and tell them shit about your spouse or your significant other, because when you decide, all right, I'm going to stay with this person, now you already told people this person is a complete asshole, or they're a piece of trash, or however you put it. Now everybody's looking at this person sideways every time they're around. Your whole situation is very uncomfortable, and it's just not right. So I kind of agree with you. Find you a therapist, find someone to talk to, that you know is there to help you, and take it from there. Now, even with that said though, once again, I have never ever sat down and spoke to anyone really about my personal issues or anything I've been through, anything like that. Like, I have a friend, he calls me all the time and talks about, like, we grew up together, and he's always talking about what we went through when we were younger, the different girls we dated and stuff like that. But I have never like sat and spoke with a therapist. Never.
I
And I don't know if I would. I really don't. And
and
I'm
that's
not.
a lot. A lot of guys
Mhm.
are stigmatized at the thought of therapy. I think most women, the majority of women, are on board. I can't say all,
You
but
know, I'm not dead set against it. I just never really got into it. Like, I don't know. I just never sat down and really spoke about my feelings or anything like that with anyone. Maybe one day I will, but who knows? Like,
what if it was like one of your kids? One of your kids was going to therapy and they're like, Dad, I want you to come to a couple of therapy sessions.
if my kid was going through something and they say, Dad, um, the therapist would like you to come through, and I would do it because that's for my kid. I'm just saying, for me, I probably wouldn't, but for my kid, hell yeah, I would do it. For one of my siblings, well, I only got one living now, but I would do that. Yes, I would definitely do that with no problem. But I just never thought about doing it for myself. But, like, I feel if you're in a situation where your relationship is strained, you're always going back and forth. It's no trust. It's no cohesion. I think that's a problem. And if you find yourself constantly questioning why you there, why are you there? So that's one of the situations that I look at. Like, you really gotta check your own self sometimes, and you gotta look deep into what you feel, and say, like, all right, I can't deal with this. I gotta move on.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. That's life.
Like I have found when I look back on it now that really only one person broke up with me in my whole life
Hmm.
because even though I feel hurt and I feel like I was wronged in some instances, I'm a runner. I'll give you a half-ass second chance, maybe even a half-ass third chance, but I'm essentially a runner. Not one of those things like, yeah, you are definitely 100% within your right to break up with someone for any reason. Like, I just can't even stand to see you wear. I used to date somebody, only wore blue clothes. I'm not even kidding. I'm not making it up. I'm not, yep. I know people in my family are right now laughing hearing this because they know exactly who it is. He only wore blue clothes because then he didn't have to think about matching.
Mm, that's insane, but okay.
Yeah, good looking guy. Every time he left the house, he looked like he just got rolled.
You want it
Well,
to be a crip.
yeah, like one of these and one of that. Like I work with individuals with special needs in my professional life, and I teach them better than to like only buy blue clothes to make your life easier. But anyway, went out with this dude for a time, and he was like, "Well, but why?" That was enough reason. The reason at the end sort of was like a different reason altogether, but the fact that you're 50 years old and you can't match your clothes right?
He didn't get it, huh?
No. And it's
It-
petty, but I'm somebody who like wakes up every morning and like takes very careful thought into like, do these shoes go with that pants? Like what's the line gonna look like? Is is that like the right width of my, does that, do I need a pointy toe or a round toe? Do I need boots that lace up or boots that zip up? Like what, and you can't be bothered to get like a third color piece of clothing? All right, we're good.
But like to me, that just takes a little bit of thought. If you can't like just put a little bit of thought into what you are wearing, it's that's a little that says a lot to me right there. Like I was dealing with a young lady that she was so obsessed with remaining young, so worried about looking looking young. Oh, I gotta dye my hair. I gotta do this. And I'm like, I understand like we get older and people don't want the gray hairs and people don't want certain things. But I think it becomes problematic when it becomes an obsession. When everything is about, oh my God, I'm so afraid of getting older, and I'm like, to me that's kind of weird. But there's people
But
out there
I
that
have found that's a very legit thing. And I think the prettier you were when you were younger,
right,
harder it is to just let it go.
right.
I've seen like I've grown up knowing some like people that were very pretty.
Hmm.
And it surprises me when they actually take aging in stride. Like I find that people that were very pretty when they were young, they got like the hair extensions and Botox and lip injections and facial fillers and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not done really, really right, you look like somebody hit you in the face with a frying pan.
Oh yes.
Or you get like
Oh.
a Romulan ridge from the Botox.
Mm-hmm. Like Madonna was looking a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but I think there was more to it than that. I think
Right.
that she was like like maybe taking some kind of like a steroidal medication
Mm-hmm.
because
But even with that young lady, I was like, yo, you're a beautiful woman. Like, what are you talking about? And what made me step back was she was like, it doesn't matter what you think. I don't even care what you think. It's about what I feel.
it shouldn't matter what you think.
Right. It's about what I feel. I feel I'm getting old and wrinkly, so this is what I got to do for me. And I was okay, no problem. I'm like, if you so obsessed with that, like to me, the littlest stuff would lead you astray. So you do what you got to do for you. I'll do what I got to do for me. I will not allow myself to get caught up in nonsense. So I feel for you. I wish you all the best. That's it. But like I said, you can't allow people to have you going insane. And if they have their everybody have their insecurities and stuff like that. I have my insecurities, everybody has their insecurities. But if you're so insecure that it's going to drive you crazy, I don't have time for that. Like, nah, I can't deal with it. Don't want to deal with it. So that's another reason I say just walk away, do what you have to do. Don't 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 give that person your time. Don't give that person all your energy because they will suck your energy out or all away from you. So it's not worth it.
Yeah, they'd be like energy vampires.
That's it. That's it. Like I've dated women that if you say hello to another woman, she loses her mind. But she could flirt around with guys and she'll be like, well, I know what I would do, but I don't know what you would do. And my thing has always been like, hold up, but if you don't like certain things, what would make you think it's all right to do that to the next person? And I always said you give people the same energy that they give you. So like it's like I always say relationships are it's so crazy. It's about the give and take. And if you're in a situation where a person is only there for the take, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
And in this day and age, it seems like there's a lot of
A lot.
me instead of us. Instead of what can we do to make things better? What could we do to be prosperous and have a flourishing relationship? It's all about me, what I need, what I want, what can you do for me? And that's not a relationship. To me, that's a job. Like if
Yeah.
you just
No,
taking care of
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And it's not that's not that's not love.
right,
That's not love. Having someone in your life that just expects you all the time to do things that they know damn well they're not going to do for you. That's like that's when you should pull the plug.
right,
And again, not when your friends tell you, not when your family tells you, and not even necessarily when your therapist thinks that you should be ready. Just like, does this serve me? Is this natural? Is this how I want my life to be in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? No, it's not.
And you gotta understand that. Like, you really gotta take accountability for your own self. And you have to know, like, there's certain things I can't deal with, I'm not willing to deal with, I'm never gonna deal with, I don't want to deal with, and let it ride from there. Like, don't beat yourself up for not being down with certain stuff. Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's it. And you have to understand that. Like, everything isn't for you. And that's all right. That's all right. You don't have to agree, or you don't have to embrace everything. Sometimes you have to take it for, listen, it is what it is. This isn't conducive to me. I understand, like, at the end of the day, this isn't going to work. I got to go. You could be the best person you could be, and somebody still don't appreciate that.
When
And,
you
and
all the amazing, beautiful, famous women on the planet
hmm
that some guy just like tossed out because he was finished. Like, it's not about you.
right,
About you're not making their ego. A lot of times people don't love you for you. They love you for how you love them.
100%.
And that's when things get funky. That's when things start to smell bad and feel weird and make you want to like run away. Because eventually you're not going to have it in your heart to keep loving them like that.
Not at all. And if you have to always, like, if you have to fight to love someone, to me, that's not love. Love isn't a struggle. Love is, I ain't gonna say it's always super smooth,
No, love is
but I definitely feel,
love is work.
right. Love is work, but love shouldn't hurt. And somebody told me one day, and we really got into it when they said this. This young lady said, "Well, sometimes people that love you still hurt you." And I said, "But
Yeah,
not
that's true
purposely.
though.
But not purposely.
Yeah.
It's a difference if you're doing something and you're not doing it maliciously. That's the difference. If you know what I'm doing is going to hurt this person, that is definitely a difference. And you have to understand that. You have to see, like, all right, this isn't this isn't fair to this person. Um, like, I'm not treating this person right. And if it comes down to that, like I said, that says a lot. Like, when people know what they're doing to you, and when a person knows what they're doing to you, you you have to understand, like, all right, this person isn't really caring about how I feel. They're not really understanding, like, this is hurtful. So if a person's like that, why do you even want to be with them? Why do you want to be around someone that really doesn't give a damn about you?
No, that's absolutely true. And one of the biggest things for me, I know that when I'm in love, I'm giving you 100, absolute 100, pure,
Hmm.
undiluted 100% all the love I can give you. And I've said this so many times on this podcast that understand that every time you hurt the person that you love, there's like a little bit of love that's never coming back.
Right. I agree with that also.
You can maybe protect what's left and not lose anymore, but all the petty bullshit, all the like unkind words, all the times you're just a jerk for being a jerk, men or women, somebody loves you just that much less.
Right. I agree. And
And
certain things you just could never get back. I'm sorry. It's just like once you cross a certain threshold or you crossed a certain line, you could never recover from that. And I'm a person, like I said, I know me. I could love you to death. I could be like, yo, I'm really into this person. But once I feel you damaged me and you did something there's no turning back from, it's a wrap. It will never be the same. And I'm always looking at you sideways and I'm always looking at you like there's no recovering. So there's not even nothing I could say about this. So it's sad. It's it is what it is. That's how I look at it.
one of the things that, like, it's sort of a metaphor for what relationships go through. A few years back, my ex totaled my car.
Hmm.
It was an absolute accident. It was, the insurance company felt that it was his fault, but it was a legit accident.
Hmm.
And it's fine. The next day, I woke up, I'm like, it's all good. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It was a legit accident that happened to anybody. But I have never trusted him to respect my car again.
Mm.
And it's sort of like that alone is a metaphor for like how relationships go. Yeah, you totaled my car that I was absolutely in love with, and you know, I got a new one and we were fine and whatever. But now I'm never going to be 100% fine with you driving my vehicle. And it's like that when you're in a relationship with somebody.
Right.
Wreck-
True.
They wreck your heart, or they wreck your life, or they wreck your relationship.
You're never gonna trust them with it again.
Yeah,
That's true. That's 100%. It's like it's like I told someone, I'm a person, it takes a lot for me to open up to people. Once I open up to you and I show you who I am and I put myself, my heart and soul into you, and then I feel you betray that genuine love and that genuine feeling that I'm putting out there to you. And once you betray that, I I opened up. I gave you access to what nobody else have. And if you violate that, I could never look at you the same again. Now I'm looking like, yo, you don't give a fuck about me, so why waste my time?
Exactly. It's like, who gives a fuck about you?
That's right.
If you don't give a fuck about me, I can't give a fuck about you. Or I can't keep giving, in the face of ongoing disrespect, I can't keep giving a full fuck about you.
Hmm. And that's true. That's real. That's honest. And people have to understand it. Like opening up to people isn't easy. Giving your heart to people isn't easy. And when you do, there has to be respect. That's why I said like society nowadays to me is so messed up because everything is instant gratification, instant this, instant that. Oh, I need everyone to love me. And I'm like, respect and relationships go hand in hand. And you have to respect the fact that, first of all, no one's perfect. And I never look at anybody to be perfect, but I do look at people to respect our boundaries, one another's boundaries. Like I always tell people, don't do anything that you wouldn't want done to you. If you have to sneak and do shit, you already automatically know you're wrong.
Yeah. It's like, don't say anything that you wouldn't want to repeat in the court of law.
Hmm.
But like also, if you're dealing with a man or you're dealing with a woman, don't do anything that you wouldn't want done to your father, your brother, your son, or your
A
sister,
hundred.
your daughter, your wife,
Right.
because they might not have the same like level of preciousness in your heart, but it doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be treated as such.
That's true. That's true. And people gotta like people really gotta understand like you could love someone and still realize that like this isn't good for us. I've seen people they say they're in love, but they're always fighting, they're always arguing. Once you put hands on each other, that's it's no return. Like I don't believe in
Point of no return.
right. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in a man beating on a woman, but I also don't believe in a woman beating on a man. Like nobody should be laying hands on one another. The only way we should be laying hands on each other is when we're intimate. And if you into spankings and shit like that, and that turns you on, that's one thing. But to disrespectfully get physical or be violent with one another, that's not a good relationship. That's something where you have to be like, all right, I can't deal with this, and I gotta keep it moving, and I'll rather be by myself than go through nonsense of constantly fighting and constantly being in a negative situation. That's not good, not at all.
No, it's not. It is not good. It is not. It's not necessary. Like it brings nothing. Oh, it makes things exciting, and it doesn't make things exciting. It totally does not make things exciting. It makes things scary. And if
Yes,
you don't know the difference, you really need to work on that.
100%. I agree with you. I
Because I
definitely agree
remember
with you.
being young and somebody told me, "Oh, it's like foreplay."
What's like foreplay?
Like them getting into a tussle was like foreplay.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah, no. You know what? You're doing it wrong. What I always say when people like, is that lasagna is as good as sex? No. If it is, you're doing it wrong. So if you think
That's
that
true.
like having a tussle is some form of foreplay, no, you're doing it wrong.
Right, your idea of foreplay is very, very distorted
Very, very
and
dark.
twisted. And twisted. Like no. Like I said, there's people now. If that's a fetish of yours, that you into spankings and things like that, that's different. But to be violent with one another just for the sake of being violent, nah. Like
Nah,
if you're always arguing and cursing and fighting, or if I had a girl I dated at one time, every time we had a disagreement, she would dig down and try to say the most disrespectful, hurtful stuff. And I was like, that's not, oh, well, I was angry, I was mad. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? So if you feel every time we have a disagreement, you have to be disrespectful, we don't need to be together. Like, first of all, that's very immature. Second of all, that's disrespectful. And lastly, I don't do that to you. So why would you try to intentionally hurt me? So therefore, I'm saying you go your way, I'll go my way, and we'll leave it at that. And we'll just agree not to be bothered with one another. And that's why I never did the go back stuff, because I always felt if we parted ways for a reason. So if I got to the point where I had to say, hold up, this is over, it's over. There's no turning back. It's no need. And like I said, there has been people I've really, really been into. I really liked, but I was like, yo, I can't do it. I can't do it. No amount of sex, no amount of money is worth your mental being broken. Is worth your heart being stepped on. It's not worth it. So you have to let it go. And you have to understand you have to value yourself more than you value anything else. And that's one thing about me. I definitely value myself. And like I said, sometimes it's just best to step away and let it be what it is.
no, agreed. Agreed. And I remember when I was married, I wanted my kids to have the mommy and daddy show.
Hmm.
And I did it for as long as I could take it. And I thought, I thought that they had seen enough.
Hmm.
And no, they didn't. It wasn't what they saw, it was more about what they heard.
Right.
And, but I will tell you, and things in my life, there were some things in my life that I probably would have stuck it out even longer if I knew what was going to happen. I like my damaged relationship with my kids and long term finances and things like that. I probably would have stuck it out for longer, or maybe just stayed in it and just did things like I wanted to do differently. But The truth, I am so glad to not have anything to do with that person, that and it took so long for me to like get out of it because I kept thinking of reasons why I should still be in it. If you know that something is bad for you and someone will hurt you just to see how you react, you don't need to be with them.
That's true.
You definitely do not need to be with them. You don't need to talk to them. You don't need to be bothered with them. And I am telling you, like the minute my kid turned 18, I packed him in a U-Haul van and moved as far away from my ex while still living in New York City. And anybody that knows New York City, my ex lived like way the top of the Bronx, and I moved to way the bottom of Queens, like on the border of Long Island.
Wow.
It was 45 miles away. And in New York City traffic, that could be anywhere between 1 hour and 9 hour drive.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm not even exaggerating.
No, that's definitely true. That's definitely true.
Yeah, because you got to get on like the Major Deegan and the Cross Bronx and the Whitestone Expressway.
And that Whitestone Expressway is a oh, that Whitestone is no joke. The Major Deegan is no joke, but that Whitestone is oh God, like wow.
No, and the just perpetual traffic jam is the Van Wyck.
Yes, true, true.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're coming home from partying in Manhattan, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. You get to the Van Wyck Expressway, and you're like, where do these people come from? Do they live indoors or they just live in their car and drive back and forth from JFK to Manhattan like
Mhm.
for their entire life? Because there is dead stop traffic with no accidents at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm
That's
not even
crazy.
bumper to bumper traffic. And I will tell you, a taxi will still cut you off. Bumper
Yeah,
to bumper traffic, it's got the length of a car and a quarter inch, it's still cutting you off.
and that's true.
Yeah.
That is definitely true.
How did he not hit me?
But it's like you said, sometimes you just have to understand, like a person is just not meant for you. And once you see that, it may hurt, you may be sad, but for your mental wellness, sometimes you just gotta be like, yo, I gotta go. I can't do it. I don't need to do it. And even for them, sometimes you gotta be like, yo, go ahead, like you do what you gotta do, like for your mental health also. Like it's not just about me, it's about both of us. So you don't need this because you feel some way about the situation. I feel some way about the situation. It's better for you to go your way and just let it be what it is. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's, and that's why, like, that's one of those things that we mean when we talk about pink flags is that one thing that's been in the back of your mind through the whole time of the relationship. That was the pink flag you should have stopped and taken a beat.
Yes.
I remember like I remember when I was first dating my when I was first dating Dave, he had just become separated and only dated like one other person before me after being in a relationship for like his entire adult life. And by that time, I was out of my marriage for like 9 years and I'd been around more times than the ice cream truck.
Mhm.
and did not give a single fuck about it. But I didn't realize at the time. Like, it did give me a minute to like, hmm, well, that might be a thing. And I remember my sister, who's very smart, and one day we have to have her be on as a guest, maybe a guest host for like a whole episode.
Hmm.
She's smart, and she's been with the same person that checked all the boxes since she's 20. And like, she just knows things, but whatever. And she was kind of like, "Do you think there might be an imbalance there?" And I was like madly in love and mildly dick dizzy, and you know how it goes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, yes. That's why you should at least wait a little bit, because sometimes when you get dick dizzy, your otherwise sound judgment could be impaired. But anyway, and yeah, sure enough, I was like finishing up 3 years of trauma therapy, feeling strong, feeling ready for something fresh and completely new. And lo and behold, this person got out of a relationship that lasted for a really, really long time and was never, ever, ever going to talk about it. Probably still has never actually had a meaningful conversation about what it all meant. But
People.
he's cute and he's fun.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, 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 no.
But people are like, Barbara, people are funny because like people also know how to do the deflection.
Oh, yeah.
They're quick to do the deflection. Or I had someone go, well, maybe you just don't know what love really is. You might have never been. And I was like, hold up, maybe you don't know the real meaning of love, because love definitely isn't what you think it is. So maybe the guys you were dealing with, they played the game with you and they said they loved you or whatever, but your idea of love and my idea of love is vastly different. And don't try to deflect, because when you're fucking up doing the wrong stuff, then trying to say, oh, well, you're just jealous. You're one of those people. No, I believe in respect. Don't do nothing you wouldn't want done to you. Period. It's simple. To me, a relationship is simple. Treat others like you want to be treated, respect that person, and just treat people right. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying you're going to agree with everything all the time.
Because you're
But
not.
right, but the biggest thing is understanding the fact that like a relationship is a partnership. And in a partnership, we work together. We don't work against one another. We don't try to outdo one another. We try to bring one another up, and we try to make sure we're each good. And if you can't understand that and you can't see that, to me, there's a big problem.
I
And
think, yeah, I think that you should treat a relationship, if you really want it to work, treat it like it's your business.
right,
Because
you're
you're not gonna like treat it like it's your livelihood. Because you're not gonna do something that's gonna damage your brand if you're an entrepreneur. If you have like a licensed occupation, you're not gonna do anything that's gonna make them pull your license. You know, it's just common sense things. But in relationships now, like you said, everybody wants immediate gratification, and it's much easier to maintain a physical relationship than it is for an emotional relationship.
Yes.
And the first time somebody told me that, like, I need to get to know somebody on a emotionally intimate level because the physical is too easy, I was like, wait, what? Hmm. And it's always weird when somebody throws a truth bomb at you.
Right.
It's like, I don't want them to be right, but yeah, they're 100% right.
That's it. And I like having friends that are like that. That's like, listen, that person is 100% wrong, and you're being too lenient. Or I love to having a friend that's like, hold up, you're being too harsh. Sit back and listen and think about what this person is saying. When you have people around you like that, you have the right circle. You always got to have the right circle of friends, the right circle of people that are in your corner. And like I said, since I don't have a therapist, I make sure to have the correct people around me that when I'm wrong, they'll say, listen, you're wrong. But when I'm right, they'll be like, no, no, you're right. And don't back down from what you're feeling. Like you could always take into account what the other person is feeling, but never disregard your own feelings. Never do that. Because like I said, sometimes it just is what it is, and you have to step away and you have to figure it out and you have to just get it done. So when it's time to get it done, sometimes you have to be done. That's it.
Yeah, sometimes you do. And I have to say that I'm pretty blessed because, like, my original small circle, who are my sisters,
Hmm.
still my circle. They still have value. And along the way, I've made like really remarkable friends, like Mrs. Williams, who is out on assignment.
Hmm.
And, you know, among others. But I still, you know, I still occasionally feel like I need a pro.
That's it.
Yeah, I need a pro
No, it's
because
all good. One day I might work my way to there. So I'll see. I'll definitely see. So it's about that time almost.
it is about that time.
And I know we don't have the topic for next week yet, but we'll get together over the days and come up with something. And we'll kick it about that, and we'll have a nice time as always.
Why don't we talk about um, health and physical limitations? How that could be a pink flag for somebody.
Okay,
Yeah,
that works for me.
I think that that's something, like, everybody thinks that if you meet somebody and they have like some health things going on, that you should either ditch completely or be in for the long haul.
I
Maybe,
think it depends on that person
yeah.
and what they're about and how hard they fight to get what they need and do what they got to do. So I'm down for that, definitely.
Okay. Health and physical limitations.
All right.
That's it for us this week. Thank
As
you.
always, Barbara, it's always love.
Always.
Later, people.